So now we're going to look at conditional formatting or conditional equations. Both work in the same way. Let's go back to our little demo project that we created in the last video. And I'm just going to make a little change to it now. So what we'll do, we'll take the jump that we've got in there out. So we want to delete that tag and update that. And so just as a reminder, we've got the first two tags ask the user to input a number. The third one adds the two numbers together and puts it into the tag called calculated. And then the last one at the moment just does this bit of formatting. Actually, what we'll do, let's copy that formatting as it is. And we're now going to turn this, instead of formatting, which would happen every time, we're now going to make it conditional formatting. And so we will pop this down in here. So what we will do now is we will say if the value of calculated, so this is the condition, if the value of the calculated tag is greater than 9, so in other words if it's 10 or more, then output the value in the formatted area in red and in bold. And then we'll say if that's not true, so if calculated is 9 or less, then let's put it out in blue and not in bold. Okay, and then we go next. And now we can finish that and give it a test. So if we run through it one time. So the first time I'll put in the value 1 in the first box, then 1 again. So that adds to 2, and you'll notice that it's blue and not bold because 2 is less than 9, or is 9 or under. So now if we go back and we run it a second time, only this time we'll make value 1 10 and value 2 10, which is 20. And so that condition will now be true, and as we can see, it's output it in bold and in red. So that is what conditional formatting will do. A conditional equation is exactly the same, except it carries out an equation based on whether or not a condition is true or false. So very, very simple. The different things we can do for conditions, and this applies to conditional formatting, conditional equations and conditional jumps, are as follows. So let's jump into number 4 here. Okay, so we can check that a tag is equal to a value. The symbols we can use in here are basically the equal sign, the less than, the greater than sign, and if we want to say not equals to, we do a less than and a greater than. Now, and this applies if this value here, if calculated wasn't a number, let's say it was an input where the user had chosen yes or no from a drop-down list. We could also do conditions like this: if it equals yes, or we could say if it does not equal yes, and so on. So pretty much we can check this. We can also compare two tags against each other. So in this one, where we had those two numbers put in, we could say if the value in number 1 is exactly the same as the value in number 2, then output it in bold and red, otherwise output it in blue and not in bold. So you can use multiple values in here as well. Just remember that the values you compare and check must be from earlier tags, because going back to the example we showed you in the other video, tags are always processed in order. Other than that, that's pretty much all there is to know. The conditional equations works in exactly the same way, except it calculates out an equation as a result. So you wouldn't be able to do this. You would have, you could add a couple of things together, and whatever equation you put in here. So let's say if number 1 and number 2 are the same, then I want to add them together. Number 2, like that. And that result will be put into this tag, okay? And if the numbers aren't the same, then let's say I want to change that number to the number 33. I'm not even doing the calculation, just set it to 33. So this is sort of the things that you can do. So obviously with a combination of conditional jumps and conditional formatting and conditional equations, you can achieve an awful lot with Saaset. And as we look at example projects, you'll see more and more how these things come into play. Again, these things are covered in the manual, so I highly recommend when you're working on conditionals and equations and things like that, that you have a copy of the manual open, either as a PDF or you print yourself a copy for quick reference. You will find that very useful.